What video game would you wish to play again for the first time? User Avatar. Level 2. Scalp Farmer. 6H. Morrowind, what a game. So wide and full of variety and opportunity, yet so unforgiving. Playing for days and weeks, not realizing you've sold or thrown away the package to Chaos Cosadas, only to have to start over again. Then getting into the main quest line for real, backtracking the very old-fashioned journal for the very vague yet important information until you get to tell FYR and kill a corpus stalker, having to start the game over yet again. Doing one playthrough for each faction, earning the respect of every single NPC of the game, completing all guild and side quests with no quest trackers. Having silt striders and boots of blinding speed as your main way of fast traveling until you find the fortress teleports. Was this from the DLC? Can't remember. Putting a stack of coins on your W key to level up athletics overnight. Finding Umbra and getting the Umbra sword for the early game cheese. Realizing at some point in your 40th playthrough that magic has actual uses. Role-playing the shit out of a video game like never before. This is the best game ever, and to sound cliché for the occasion, I'd give anything to experience this game for the first time ever again. Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. Went to my uncle's house for Christmas break. He had built his own PC and for 2 solid weeks I played the game for at least 16 hours a day. Had to go back home though and I never played it again. I've always had it in my mind to build my own PC, never have before, and playing it over again. Maybe with some mods to update the graphics. But the quest lines, side missions, items, magic, etc. just blew me away like nothing else had. Edit, holy shit. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I've been talking about this game for 10 years and nobody I've came across has played it before. Seeing this game get this kind of love warms my heart. Diablo 1 and 2, especially the first one, I remember it being terrifying as a kid. I would wait for daylight to go to the catacombs and caves. The game was also pretty unforgiving, dying would make all your items drop on the ground. The second was just pure magic. It seems so simple now as an adult, but this was also before YouTube and Twitch. You had to just figure the game out yourself. There was no meta to follow. If you trained your character and found out you put points in the wrong spells, you had to just remake them. Mana potions were not bought, so playing melee over magic had its pros and cons. The trading system was essentially old school bartering. You just traded item for item. No one knew what was good, so they just collected everything. Not sure if it was the first game that ever implemented it, but those seamless transitions in / out of vehicles was so slick. It felt amazing being able to quickly hop in and out of a warthog or ghost to grab ammo or health, or to dodge behind some rocks and flank while your marines laid down covering fire with the chain gun. It feels so odd to say it now, but I remember getting in and out of the warthog in the second level repeatedly, and just driving it about over the lumps and bumps of the terrain. Plus, as everyone else has mentioned, the game oozed atmosphere. It just pulled everything together in a way that really worked thematically, and the twists of the plot worked really well, mechanically and narratively. Also, fighting hunters would be amazing to experience again. A case of just 2 enemies in an open area, yet still somehow being an amazing combat encounter. I love how the game managed to keep things so varied with so few enemy types. Man, my soul was taken the day I joined. My overall feel was kinda like a medieval Lord of the Rings type game. The swords, shield, suits of armor, white and black knights, goblins, wizards. You could be Aragorn, Legolas, Gandalf, Saruman if you wanted, with dragons to fight and all sorts of beasts. On top of all that, the adrenaline you got knowing if you died you lost it all, not banked OFC. I loved the merchanting, even being able to scam it taught lessons. Going on to the Wildy was the best PvP area in any game I've ever experienced, again just to the risk of losing it all. Dueling at Lumbee was also wild AF, like the original Champions of Champions, going on all day. Then Castle Wars, if you wanted a slightly safer Warzone, was again fantastic. Some games should have just been left how they were born. It's one thing to grow up a game, another to change its identity. I still play and have subs granted, mostly just log in to do daily, but I'm almost 6,000 days old, haha, grinning face with smiling eyes. 20-year cape due in a few years. It's a game about wonder and exploration. You find out everything by yourself, no hand holding. The first time I played it, I found myself completely immersed in the game, wanting to explore every single path, a thing I never do in other games. First time you take the lift down to City of Tears is gaming porn. Additionally, accidentally stumbling upon Deep Nest and getting lost deep inside it, being unable to find my way out, and without a lantern, is one of my all-time favorite gaming moments. Just pure intensity and wonder, and fear. In the same vein, I'd recommend anyone who liked Undertale to maybe check out Omori. Go into it completely blind, and to be fair, it's much more earthbound than it is Undertale. It's also YAI darker and much more real feeling with its story, so it personally hit me way harder. I was literally crying by the end, and I don't get emotionally affected by media easily. I found the story genuinely kinda inspiring in an odd way. But it's seriously dark, and not in a boring edgy way, so if you're in a bad place, I'd recommend maybe holding off on playing it, lol. Anyways, for anyone who wants another really high quality RPG Maker style game, that's for the record written in English so it flows better than a translated true JRPG would be, I'd highly recommend checking out Omori and going in blind. Fallout 4 is my favorite Fallout game personally. The customization of weapons/armor/power armor/settlements made it feel like you could make so many different unique ways to play, and the DLCs were my favorite amongst all Bethesda games. 3 was okay, liked the setting and thought exploring DC was actually really cool. 1 was alright, but I think a bit too old school for my tastes, and I can't bring myself to finish New Vegas. The story's excellent, but the Fallout 3 with aiming gameplay was a bit meh, and I felt like exploring the Mojave wasn't as interesting as the Capital Wasteland or the Commonwealth. Okay, I'm going to be showing my age here. Ultima 5, Warriors of Destiny. Ultima 6, The False Prophet. Ultima 7, The Black Gate. Also, Heroes Quest 1, before it was renamed to Quest for Glory. Space Quest 3. Final Fantasy 7. Zelda, Twilight Princess. Civilization 4. That is my list of games that I would love to play for the first time again that I haven't already seen listed. Of course, I would love to experience almost all the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games again for the first time, with some exceptions. I almost forgot. X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and X-Wing vs TIE Fighter. I sunk so many hours into those flight sims. Final Fantasy 7. When I was in middle school, that game was life-changing for me and showed me how games can give you an emotional reaction to your core. When Ares went down, I was shook as hell. Plus my older brother played it before I did, and of course we pretty much hated each other at those ages, and it was a great bonding experience for us, and he would always come downstairs and see what materia combos I was rocking, and I'll never forget he and I going apeshit when I finally got that gold chocobo. Knights of the Round and Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. Modern Warfare 2. Nothing will ever compare to that Christmas morning 2009. Opening my PS3 and MW2, and literally playing the entire campaign in one sitting. Never having played an FPS before, it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Just an adrenaline-filled joyride of high action, breathtaking graphics, insane weapons, and badass characters. And that was just the appetizer. After spending 8 hours trying to figure out how to connect to Wi-Fi, I played real people in online multiplayer. Blew my mind. I don't know how to put to words that feeling of the first time you got a kill and the numbers popped up on your screen. I imagine it's what heroin feels like. I feel like it's taken for granted now, but the idea that me and someone potentially on the other side of the world just competed against each other and I won, was mind-blowing. It was so intensely satisfying and addicting that I logged 25 days worth of my life to it, and that's not much compared to a lot of other people. The guns were sick, the perks were so cool, Scavenger will always be my favorite, but the kill streaks are what sold the multiplayer. UAV, Predator, Chopper/AC-130. Unbeatable. That game just had it all. It got a bad rap for a while because of the failure to keep up with community complaints, but I will never forget how much fun that game was, until the second DLC. Best game ever. The entire Assassin's Creed series. Because with every game you can see how far Ubisoft has come to make these games, making an entire brotherhood right in the middle of world history. The first game, literally killing off the Crusaders. The second game, the fucking Renaissance. Brotherhood, almost the entirety of geek history. Revelations, the history of the Byzantines. The third game, you're literally slaughtering redcoats in the American Revolution. Unity, the French Revolution. Syndicate, the Industrial Revolution. Origins, you literally get to see how the Assassin Brotherhood was made and you get to travel all over Egypt. Odyssey, Greek mythology. And then finally Valhalla, Norse mythology. You are literally a Viking. I know I'm missing a few games in between, but my point is Ubisoft has put so much work and research into making a fictional organization in historic periods. A fun bonus fact, I almost tear up every time the Revelations main theme comes on. Both Red Dead Redemptions. There was a point in RDR1 where you come across a man crying over his dead wife just off a trail. The first time I ran into him, I thought it would turn into a side mission, so I kept waiting for the blue dot to pop up on the mini-map. So I waited. And waited. And waited. No blue dot. He just kept crying. Eventually I got off my horse to see if that would trigger the mission. Nothing. Nothing changed. He kept crying. Wailing. Bawling. I put my controller down and just watched. Was this a bug or environmental storytelling? I waited some more. Then he pulled a gun. I scrambled for my controller. This man was going to shoot me and I was going to die. Did he blame me for killing his wife? Did he go crazy in his grief? I pushed all of the buttons in a panic, fumbling for whichever one would pull my own gun. Bang. Silence. No more crying. The man lay slumped over his wife. He killed himself. I was pointing my gun at a dead man. I was shocked. Stunned. I was so shaken I put my controller back down and walked away from the game to compose myself. I still can't believe a video game could trigger that kind of experience. I later found out it is a side mission. You just have to get to him earlier. Final Fantasy VII. This was the first time I had ever been engrossed in a video game. I must have been about 12 or so. I was so caught up in the story and exploration. Then midway through the second disc my memory card went missing. It was lost for over 3 months. I even had dreams that I was continuing the story somehow. Then one day my dog came walking in the room chewing on something. I went over to check and she was chewing on my memory card. I immediately plugged it in and was so happy that it was the missing memory card. I ended up being the game, getting all the ultimate weapons and all summons for Knights of the Round Table. Just didn't have the patience to make a golden chocobo. Warcraft 2. I was into PCs in the 90s with one of my friends, my dad, and his dad. We were just obsessed with the technology, the games, the BBSs. I slept over my friend's one night, he had a Pentium 100, beast of a PC back then. I woke up early, he slept in. I jumped on his PC, start sniffing around in DOS. I see a directory named War 2. Run the game, I'm hooked instantly, Neve played a game like this. I hogged his computer and didn't eat anything until 2 p.m. lol. Then his mom got us McDonald's and we played basketball, but my mind was still on Warcraft. What a game. I got my grandma to bring me to Toys R Us to buy it a few weeks later on my birthday. Good times. Breath of the Wild, it's not my literal favorite game of all time, Ocarina of Time is, but I've never had a stronger sense of wonder than playing that game. It let me recapture a feeling I hadn't felt playing a game since I was a kid. I got fully immersed in the world and felt like I was actually exploring a wide open expanse. I was curious about literally everything, which is something no other open world game has ever made me. From epic shit like fighting giant mechanical beasts possessed by Ganon, to calming and emotional stuff like the Terry Town quest line, and the nostalgia brought on by references like finding the ruins of Lon Lon Ranch. Such an amazing game. The Last of Us, it was the first game that got me into 12-hour gaming sessions with a buttload of munchies to substitute meals, grinning squinting face. Plus now when I replay it right before I have go into a crap ton of clickers or a bloater, I just pause and save cause I'm like I know what's in there and I don't like it face with tears of joy, so a memory-free replay would both be amazingly thrilling and make me crap myself at the same time. Pokemon Red/Blue. This is a tough choice. I have a lot of memories of great games growing up, starting on the NES. Chrono Trigger, maybe the best RPG of all time, World of Warcraft with that epic huge world feel, making new friends, etc., and even KOTOR or Final Fantasy X for me, for the crazy immersive and emotional story. Why Pokemon? My brother had a GB with Red, but of course one save. I couldn't play it since he was busy with it and it was his. One day my other brother found an emulator with the Pokemon ROM. They were both already late teens and Saturday evening went out with their friends, which meant PC for me time. I started up the game and just kept playing. I was 12 or 13 and played until 7 in the morning. I didn't know emulators, first time using it, so what's a save state, and in my excitement to play didn't test the internal in-game save until the morning. I was scared, tired but content. Even if the save didn't work, the journey had been awesome. I saved, reloaded, and there it still was. I was so happy. Pokemon was new and the thing then. The internet was small, you found your own way and chose your Pokemon on your gut or what you thought was cool or plain what you think you needed. The game just kept giving that wow feeling with new creatures, evolutions, battles. I love so many games and a lot I wish I could play again for the first time, but Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Yellow, and then later Silver would be the epic journeys revisited for me. Mobile, so sorry for format. If you ask me, I would delete all my memories of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. The feeling of the plateau, the graphics style, the first time you got to see the Blood Moon. All the cities were special too and got unique characters and quests. And of course the racks with their story, personality, their beasts, and their music. I especially felt Mipha's story, it just was too sad to not be touched by. Which I really liked were the memories, they all were special and always make me nostalgic in the afterwards. So yeah, if I could delete all my memories of one game, it would probably be of BOTW. If I could go back in time to play it for the first time, Halo Combat Evolved co-op with my friend. Seeing the Halo after crash landing your escape pod and rescuing the survivors was mesmerizing. Storming the beach on Silent Cartographer was badass with the Warthog and a buddy. Or the night operation of Truth and Reconciliation, having your buddy cover you while you stealth kill enemy camps and then get warped into the Covenant cruiser. Seeing skirmishes of Marines and Covenant on the ground while battling hunters on the bridges of Assault on the control room was epic because you finally make it down to the ground to help them 10 to 20 minutes later. Seeing the cam footage of the flood invasion was heart-pounding. Then you end up sprinting the entire map of the library to escape said invasion. All that is concluded with the adrenaline-packed race against time on the all while there is a battle royals between you, Elite Covenant, the Flood, and the Sentinels. You win by flying away as shit explodes. Rip Foe Hammer. Absolute perfection.